The long-awaited trip to the Daytona International Speedway for a brand new start to a brand new series is finally among us. Happy to join everybody that's going to be watching this brand new event for some historic racing tonight from the Daytona International Speedway. My name is Francisco Bacallao, getting ready to bring you the opening race in the inaugural running of the KBRN Truck Series from Daytona. This series has been a long time in the making, and I can't believe that it is finally here. This thing has been in years of working between myself, Kenneth Bueno, Keelan Belsha, and Charlie Byer. But after all the talk, after all the ideas, it has now been put forth to fruition. We're here, we have drivers, and we are getting ready for our first ever event here tonight. And I can't tell you how excited everybody is to be a part of this brand new program that we're going to have going on here for the rest of 2025. And yes, this is me up here in the booth where you're wondering, where is Kenneth Bueno? He is going to be a driver in this series. So this is the first time we'll probably get to see this guy in the race. He'll be doing a good job behind the wheel, and we'll get to talk to him throughout the season from the vantage point of driver and owner. And we'll get to talk to him here pretty soon before qualifying gets underway. To kind of go over quickly about our racetrack that we're going to be running here tonight, let's go and take a little bit of a summary of the Daytona International Speedway, though it needs no introduction in its own right. Daytona, a very famous racetrack in North America, situated in Daytona Beach, Florida, 2.5 miles in length with 31 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 18 degrees in the Trialville, opening back in 1959, one of the older big super speedways in the United States. And it has been home to the Rolex 24, the Daytona 500, the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and plenty of more events that have hosted even non-motorsport events here at Daytona. And this is just the latest one of many events that have triggered here at the Daytona International Speedway. So whilst we'll have an opportunity here, we'll try to see if we can grab a word with the man that is responsible for making this entire project finally come to fruition. We'll get an opportunity to talk with the man himself, Mr. Kenneth Bueno. We are finally here. It is about time that we've gotten this KBueno Racing Truck Series up underway. Years of talk, years of trying to make this thing work, and it is finally here in 2025. Just kind of give us a brief working of what finally made this happen right here, right now.
And all of the other drivers and all of the people that make this special. Yeah, I mean, we kind of had this idea in mind months ago. I mean, it was a lot of the ideas from Charlie and Keelan. And as we were kind of brainstorming one night many months ago, we were thinking, what can we do to celebrate this network? Because, now it's already 5 years old. April 2020 is when I started the KBueno Racing Network way back when. So we were thinking, in what way could we try and celebrate? We initially had a one race off special event in mind, and that nearly took off. But we were thinking, what if we did a series? What if we tried to expand it to have it be a small but very fun and competitive series with some of the people who we see race often on this network in other leagues and good friends of ours that we've come to know over the last several years? So we kind of thought that up. We wanted a good vehicle, not a next gen, since we cover a lot of next gen leagues already. So we wanted to try something different. We said, what about the trucks? Very accessible C-class vehicle on iRacing. It's pretty fun to drive. It's got new aero from its update a while ago. So we're thinking that could be the idea. And ultimately we got it off the ground. So it's going to be fun here tonight at Daytona to see, how the drivers react, how I am behind the wheel. I'm going to be nervous as all hell. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, just super excited everyone's really a part of this, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, we're all excited to help make this be a thing that finally comes to fruition. I know that we've talked about this for years, many different things. Keelan was probably one of the biggest pursuers in trying to get this going, but obviously I would say the biggest point of interest for everybody that watches the KBueno Racing Network is that you'll be behind the wheel in this series, which is not something we're normally accustomed to. So as we prepare for qualifying here in just a couple of minutes, what are your expectations, or more so, what are your thoughts as you approach a proper full-time effort in this series when you're normally up here in the booth with me?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't think I've raced a full-time league since the IQSSL series. I think those are the only two series on iRacing in which I've raced full time. A lot of other leagues I've raced part time. I do one-off starts, but I've always stick to broadcasting because that's always what I've done best. And driving is not something that I seem to do often on iRacing. I do official sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit nervous. I mean, these guys are good. I've watched a lot of these guys on screen in many different leagues, and I know just how talented and how good they are. I know how much racecraft they have. I know how kind they are as teammates. I know how much strength they can carry in their own right. So to see not only good friends of mine on the sim in this session, but also people from a lot of different leagues that we've covered over the last several years and understanding how talented they are, I don't know how I'm going to stack up. I think I'm going to have to lean on my teammates because I've got a lot of them tonight, so I'm going to try to lean on Keelan, lean on JJ, lean on basically any of the KBueno Racing drivers because they'll take me to the promised land. I don't think I can do it by myself.
It's going to be a spotter's worst nightmare for me. There's
Yeah.
about six of those trucks that look so
Yeah.
identical that Ethan asked Cosman to make, but they all look great, and I'm sure you're going to be doing just fine tonight, Kenneth. Congratulations, and thank you for making this series possible, and I can't wait to get underway here shortly.
I appreciate it, Francisco. Thank you so much for broadcasting. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully you get to cover a great race tonight. We can bring you a lot of fun. So to everyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in. To all the drivers, thank you so much for joining. We're excited to bring this series to you. We're excited to celebrate the network in kind of a fun way with this mini series. So appreciate everyone, and hopefully we'll see you on track. Hopefully we can win. Well, I mean, we'll see. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
You never know. Daytona can bring just about anything. Thank you, Kenneth, and good luck tonight.
Appreciate it.
Oh, that is Kenneth Bueno driving the 117 in this series for the first inaugural running. Exciting stuff. He's normally up here with me covering these races. I take on that responsibility. He takes that one. And man, this is going to be just so unique. Such a brand new thing that we are not really accustomed to seeing on this channel. But like he said right there, it is just going to be a breath of fresh air. And there are so many drivers that are in this series that you may have recognized across a variant of different series, not just here on the KBueno Racing Network, but maybe across the iRacing service in general. And we're going to have a great opportunity of covering them with the trucks, which is not a vehicle that we normally or haven't covered in this channel in a while. We've covered those next-gen cars, maybe occasionally the Xfinity Series cars, but we haven't really seen a proper Truck Series event in a couple of years now, so it's really exciting to see us get back towards this vehicle in what hasn't been in a while, and the new updates that have been happening to the Truck Series, obviously with the digital dash and numerous other updates that the vehicle has had towards it in the last couple of years. And seeing a proper series play out on our screens is going to be plenty entertaining, as there is Mr. Kenneth Bueno already wasting no time getting out on the racetrack for a qualifying run. So we'll see how he does in his opening set of laps. And all the drivers have only one lap, which is very important to remember. Only one opportunity to lay down a fast lap. So they got to get up to speed, do it quickly, and do it proper. And they'll try to set the fastest possible lap in order to go for pole position. There's only 40 spots to make the race here tonight. And believe it or not, even in this opener of a brand new series, we have probably more than 40 cars in the session here already for tonight. So there are going to be drivers, unfortunately, that will be going home. As Kenneth Bueno comes off of turn number 4, getting ready to start his first ever qualifying run. First one in properly in a broadcast like this in 4 years. As he immediately gets it down to the bottom, and that's really how you want to run. You want to make sure you keep it right on that apron. Build up that speed. And you can see it right there, just the kind of speed he is running around this racetrack, about 174 through these corners. These trucks here, series machines with the aerodynamics and the power they got, they're not nearly as fast as the next gen or Xfinity Series cars, but they're able to hold pretty steady around the racetrack, almost reaching 178 into turn 3. As he has been pretty steady on this lap. And we'll see where that will exactly put him when it's all said and done. Numerous other vehicles, of course, putting lap times at the exact same time in this 5-minute session. He'll go all the way down to the below the apron. And for now, that'll mark him in the 12th position. Still numerous vehicles left to go. Right now, Justin Rott has gone fastest. as we're trying to see if we can find some other vehicles out on the racetrack right now. As lap times are continuing to be set. There, right there is Juan Escamilla, the number 99, currently on his out lap, another KBueno Racing truck. And this field is quickly getting set up. As well, does appear we'll probably have about 3 drivers, possibly 4, that will be going home at the end of the night. We have currently 34 that have set a lap time, with about 8 or so, maybe even 10, that have yet to set a lap. But there's Juan Escamilla on his hot lap right now. And much like Kenneth, that's just going to be the trick for everybody, trying to make sure that they can keep it on the apron. And it is very difficult, believe it or not, to run like this because the times are so close. Any kind of mistake can be the difference between sitting on the pole and not making the race. So it is absolutely critical to get it spot on. And by my count, there will be 2 drivers going home, as we did have 42 officially attempt a qualifying lap here. As there's Juan Escamilla completes the lap. That'll put Escamilla actively in 33rd, but good to go. There's still 3 drivers yet to set a lap time. This is going to be one last attempt, it appears, in the dying stages by Amir Bascombe. Forty cars have officially set a lap. AJ Green, unfortunately, does not appear as though he was able to set a lap that counted. So that will result in the driver of the 75 not being able to qualify for tonight's race. If Amir Bascombe can set a lap in time, would it be enough to beat, at the very least, the number 2 of Chris Fowler, who currently sits in the 40th spot with the slowest lap time? And it doesn't appear so. So Amir Bascombe, AJ Green are not going to be able to make it into tonight's race. Heartbreaking for those 2 to miss out on the opener. But they will have plenty of other opportunities later down the line, later in the season, to try and go for it all. Drivers are beginning to line up here for what will be the starting grid for tonight's race. We'll try to get you this starting lineup for our very first KBRN Truck Series event from Daytona. And it'll be on the pole. It'll be Colin Forrester. He's been known for some good Daytona races in his past, and his number 71 711 machine. Alongside of him, Steven Maggio in the number 51 truck. He'll have an excellent opportunity to go for the race win here from the front row. Second row will be occupied by Justin Rott in the number 76, rolling off 4th with Alex Schumacher with an excellent qualifying effort to be up into the 3rd position. 5th place will go to Mikey Neal in the number 8, with Trevor Haley, one of the KBueno Racing drivers, in the number 12. 7th will go to Craig Lautenslager in his number 78, with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in the 00 alongside of him. 5th place goes to Ethan Fonseca Moreno in his 077. Alongside of him is going to be Travis Van Oostendorp in the number 42, rounding out the top 10, with Kyle Benson going to be rolling off in the 11th place position, and Connor Zola in the number 13 in 12th. 13th goes to Tony Kivett, and Joe Sanchez, a name we haven't seen here in a while, rolling off in the 14th spot. 15th will go to 4-wide league owner Tyler Murray. He'll be back at Daytona in a couple of days for the 4-wide speed weeks, with Duncan Fall in the 16th spot. 17th goes to Ryan Bogey, with 18th going to Jamie Wright in his number 89. Eric Schaefer will be rolling off from the 19th spot alongside of one of his Drinking Bros Racing teammates in Brandon Banks. CJ Munier will be rolling off in 21st, with Nicholas Bauman in the 22nd spot. Chris Progar going to be in 23rd, with Jesse Prees down in the 24th spot. Our very own Keelan Belsha is going to be rolling off in the 18th spot, with Jacob Locklear in the number 84 in 26th. Curtis Kelly in the 87 is going to be rolling off 27th, and Shane DiMantova making his KBueno Racing return, and he's going to be rolling off in 28th in his number 20 truck. Frank Parks in the number 53 will be 29th, with Michael Newbrawl running out our top 30 drivers. 31st goes to JJ Hill, close friend of the commentators up here in the KBueno Racing Network, with Michael Walls in the 32nd spot. Gabe Cazzola in the number 95 rolls off 33rd. Juan Escamilla qualified 34th in his number 99. 35th to go to Christopher Bishop in the number 35, or in the number 14, with Jason Hastings in the 36th spot. Our very own Kenneth Bueno rolls off 37th, with Alex Benyako in the 29 will be rolling off 38th. Cody Spare in the number 32 will be 39th, and rounding out our 40-car field, final qualifier here tonight is going to be Chris Fowler in the number 2. These drivers are getting ready under these pace laps to get set for our first race of the season. We were having a bit of session issues, so that's why we're a little bit late tonight, and it appears as though we did have a time change on our hands. We are running this race what appears to be, I would say, in the afternoon now. As there's a look at the weather. A cool afternoon here from Daytona. 67 degrees. That'll give these drivers all the grip in the world to get after it. And the lights, of course, off on that pace car. This is where times are going to get real exciting real quick. The pace truck makes that left-hand turn onto pit road, and for the first time in KBueno Racing history, the proper series of its name is green flag from the World Center of Racing. And as we complete the lap number 1, the first ever lap goes to Stephen Maggio in the number 51. Has help from Justin Rott in the 76, who started outside of the front row. But the first ever laps led, with Justin Rott now jumping to the inside in front of Colin Forster, the pole sitter, and Rott will clear for the race lead. Already a strong move for the number 76, but that does line up the KBueno Racing teammates on the outside, with another one there on the inside. That is Mikey Neal and his number 8 machine. So numerous KBueno Racing cars are going to be up in the front, and you can see them all with the KBRN hoods. Man, there's going to be so many of them, I could confuse them all night long, but you can see the distinctions there. 4 of them inside the top 10 already. And very distinct that early on in this race, we're already seeing 2 proper lines formed up towards the front of the field, and it goes very deep into the field, in fact. And we're going to be seeing this probably for most of the evening. You see a little bit further back, there's the 87 of Curtis Kelly. He's in the middle of this pack right now, as they're mostly side by side. You see a further back, a small breakaway going back to Eric Schaefer. He has a couple of his teammates behind him, including Brandon Banks and CJ Munier, Jesse Prees among others. And you can definitely play the strategy of trying to bide your time, play it safe, and just try to run these laps as far as possible. It's an 80-lap race, so it's not too particularly long, but still, that's definitely almost over an hour and a half of racing still left to do. And you can see a lot of those drivers are making their way now towards that inside lane, towards that bottom. It's definitely the faster way to go with these trucks, a lot more difficult to handle. As there is Justin Rock continuing to lead on the inside lane, with Colin Forster still behind him, and Stephen Maggio with Trevor Haley still making work on that top side. And on that outside lane as well is 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, a name we've seen lately here on the KBueno Racing Network, has put in some strong performances in the SAC Cup Series, had a strong end to his 4-wide racing series. He's looking to try to kick off his inaugural Truck Series season with a possible win here from Daytona. And you can see a little bit of 3 wide further back. That appears to be the 56. Yes, that is the 56. Or excuse me, the 95 of Gabe Gazzola. Making a move on the outside, 3 wide, but doesn't really have the help. He'll scratch the outside wall a tad. There's Michael Walls, a teammate of his, to try and get that third lane formed up. It's a little early for that outside lane to probably have a lot of interest as a couple of cars go sliding down the inside. Looks like a little bit of a moment there for the 87 of Curtis Kelly. He hangs on to it. Not sure if that was by design or if there was some faulty contact. But either way, they keep it going. Now this outside lane is starting to get a couple more cars. They jump to the very outside. And I believe that's going to be Travis Van Oostendorp. So those are all those Turn 1 Autosport drivers or GOAT Motorsports drivers that have found their way to the very outside. And very quickly, we're 3 by 3. Justin Rott, who led that inside lane, has now fallen back to the 3rd row as Steven Maggio is side by side for the race lead with Travis Van Oostendorp, help from Joe Sanchez. And look at that. As the pack goes into turn 3, nearly clear for Joe Sanchez. Van Oostendorp did get clear for the race lead for a moment, but on the bottom, Trevor Haley leaves Steven Maggio out in the middle. And now the number 12 finds himself at the top spot. And you can see very well these front 5 or so rows are the ones very much trying to get involved in this racing, trying to figure out their trucks. And it's a good time to do so. You want to learn what the truck will do in this situation, because if you don't practice this and then the latter portion of the race shows up and you don't know what to do, how do you expect to go up there and battle for the win? That's a very tricky art to balance. It's not exactly easy, but now's the time to do it, no doubt. As Maggio now fights back with help from Jurgensmeyer to try to see if he can battle the number 12 of Trevor Haley for the top spot. A couple cars going around. Looks like some contact on the inside lane, and that's Colin Forster getting shuffled out as they nearly go 4 wide trying to avoid this. You see the checkups going on here. Looks like that could have been a bump gone awry. And fortunately for everybody, they have saved it, as most of the back end of this pack is really strung out. That was a close call, as the front, I would say 10, have broken away from most of the pack. Let's try and see if we can get a replay here as to what led to that moment in turns 3 and 4. So they're going into turn 3 here, and it looks like the contact is going to happen. Oh, some netcode possibly with Justin Rott and Maggio, and then behind them, Cazzola and Forster come together. But they all save it, fortunately. And we remain under the green flag with the front 10 pulled away from most of the field. The last car in this main group being that number 77 of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And you can see what that did to the pack. It kind of just shuffled them up and really took away the 3 wide, but I mentioned that, and there they go to the top once again. Michael Walls, Travis Van Oostendorp, among others, trying to still make that very 3rd lane work. And it's worked pretty decently, even for the lack of cars that it's had. See Jamie Wright a little bit further back thinking about going up there. And very quickly, it only took about 3 laps or so, but they have caught back up, and Justin Rott gets up to the race lead as you see the inside lane bobble as they catch up to Trevor Haley to try and give that 12th truck a push. Was struggling to really get a handle on the truck to see if he can make a move. And it allowed that inside or middle lane to clear bottom. And they remain 3 by 3 with Van Oostendorp down the middle. And Michael Walls trying to see if he can make that outside lane work. It was definitely very quick with that 42 truck leading it. But they have just kind of fallen back a little bit. Joe Sanchez has done a great job pushing that 42 out there. As Van Oostendorp will leave now Joe Sanchez out to dry on that outside lane. He'll clear down to the bottom. And Joe Sanchez will try to take the race lead himself. He has help from Stephen Maggio. And if you want to know what it's like to run in this pack, look no further than right here. Get at this view from Jonathan Juergensmeyer as he's on the inside lane, pushing Justin Rott almost to this race lead. And that's the view from Travis Van Oostendorp looking back at the field. This is not exactly a comfortable position to be in. And there you go. Middle 3 wide from Joe Sanchez. And there you see Van Oostendorp go up to the top. That allows the middle lane to open up, and it's going to be filled by Sanchez. This has been some exciting stuff in this opening 12 laps of this race, which have gone green flags so far. Sanchez clears the outside lane, does not clear Rott, as a car blinks down on the bottom, the 88 of Nicholas Baumann. And they go once again, 3 by 3. This seems to have been the story of this race to this point, that they are being very aggressive at the front. Only had that near miss just a couple laps ago, but they quickly recovered, and they have not let up ever since. And it's Van Oostendorp on the outside lane with the help from Walls. So it looks like that was a mere Bascom that they had just gone by, as Walls tries to clear in front of Joe Sanchez, and he'll get down in front. But he can't follow Van Oostendorp all the way to the very bottom. That leaves Moreno and Cazzola out on the outside. And it splits up those teammates of Van Oostendorp and Walls, but they now control both lanes. And here we are through lap number 14 in the process, and there's the update on Kenneth Bueno. He started towards the back end of this field, almost at the very, very last row of the grid, and he runs in this main pack on this outside lanes in the top 20. So it's been a good opening run for the 117 Chevy Silverado. That's his name on the hood, and he is trying to rep it and join a couple of others with similar paint schemes. He's got a few around him. He's got the 8 of Mikey Neal, the 99 of Juan Escamilla. He's got Alexander Schumacher in the immediate vicinity as well. They're all trying to move up closer to the front. They know that they have Stephen Maggio, Ethan Fonseca Moreno up there. And that could definitely help. But we were seeing 3 wide, but it has calmed down a little bit now. Seeing more so 2 wide. As up in the front, it's Michael Walls and Justin Rott that lead the inside lane with help from one of their own teammates of Jonathan Juergensmeyer. And these drivers, this collection of drivers, they have worked very well at Daytona. Not just recently, but historically. They know how to work well together. In the slide job opener just a couple of weeks ago, they were in position to win that race. A late yellow came out and foiled their strategy. But otherwise, they executed through the pit stops to where KBueno Racing didn't, and that allowed them to get into position. So they know what they're doing in these super speedway races, and they're looking to see if they can notch the opening victory of our campaign. As the caution flag will come out, first one of the night. Trouble for Keelan Belsha. Numerous other cars appear to be involved. Some damage on the right side and the rear bumper of the number 18. So his wheel looks to be fully turned to the right. And there you kind of saw it for a moment. He is unable to get it going the right direction. Some big steering damage. And he'll actually tow it back to the garage. So unfortunate start here for Keelan Belsha, as we'll try to get a view of what exactly brought out the yellow flag. Looks like there was trouble already up in the front, and they were checking up. Right there, the bump by the 17, they go up, and oh my, they just all collide at the same spot. We'll try to see if we can get a better look at what happened further up, if we can. And it looks like this is about the area where it initiated. Just a bit of a checkup coming up from a couple rows in front. The 38 hits the back of Schumacher. Then a big lag push, actually, into the 29 of Alex Benyako. So just an odd situation there with the lag. And then a couple other cars just drive into the incident. So damaging several race trucks here. And just in time for pit road, and we could see most of the field. It is a 75% fuel fill for this truck series. That means their maximum fuel tanks could probably take them anywhere between 25 and 30 laps. So they weren't that far away from any green flag pit stops, but this will take them out from it. As there you see Van Oostendorp missing his pit stall just a bit, and a big mistake there by Ethan Fonseca Moreno as well. Has to back up into his stall, so multiple mistakes already. As you see some fuel only stops up and down pit road, and it's going to be Justin Rott winning the race off pit road. Van Oostendorp in second despite the mistakes, but you're seeing different strategy calls. But Justin Rott, Travis Van Oostendorp, some of the fastest trucks we've seen already early on in this one, retained the top spot. And we're going to possibly see some fuel savings. We'll try to see if we can get a word with one of the drivers that were involved in our incident, Mr. Keelan Belsha, and he's here with us now. Keelan Belsha, you got a copy?
I got you, buddy. What's happening?
It was a great opening set of laps up and down through the field, but eventually that first caution appeared to have come out. We saw the damage to your truck. Looked like it was pretty bad, and you had to tow. Kind of take us through what was your perspective on that accident?
Oh, well, we were making it the first couple laps. I didn't think it would be as hard to pass through the field as it was, but we couldn't make up anything back there, so just kind of riding around first 15 laps or so, and then I saw the big checkup and checked up for it, and I thought we would get all settled down, be fine, but I knew we were going to need some luck because we were going to lose all that time. So I was trying to keep my speed up as much as I could, and then that green car in front of us, I think, blew his motor. He shifted down a third or something and blew up, and I just had nowhere to go behind that 17. So yeah, my crew chief just told me too much damage, we're done. So that'll be the end of it for me. But it was fun for the laps we got out there and raced. This has been really fun to put up and set up this KBRN truck series, and these guys are going to put on a great race towards the end of it.
Not the most ideal ending for you, Keelan, I know, and as we take the one to green here, you were one of the key factors in this series becoming what it was. So while we still have an opportunity under this yellow, kind of give us what was your idea behind this series, talking to Kenneth, talking to myself and Charlie about making this series happen.
Well, I mean, it started off as an idea just for a one-off race for KBRN. I don't know if y'all talked about that yet or not, but that was the original idea, and we ended up turning it into a whole series because we wanted to do a truck series. Nobody does trucks anymore, so I don't know, everything just kind of fell into place, and I mean, I don't know, it was just kind of a whim of the moment idea to celebrate the last 5 years on KBRN, and it's been fun. We've had a lot of fun doing this. I've had a lot of fun, and first race didn't go very well, but hopefully it gets better next week.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Keelan. Thank you for everything you've done to get this series to this point, and we hope to see you out at Las Vegas next week.
Yeah, good talking to you.
That is Keelan Belsha, driver number 18. Unfortunately, not going to be the result he was hoping for here from Daytona. One of the key factors in this series of being what it is right now and getting us to this point. Going to be an early exit for the Dirty South Racing number 18. Well, as we mentioned before, it's going to be Justin Rott and Travis Van Oostendorp on the front row. The first 4 drivers are all working in tandem, so they have very quickly gotten control of this one, and they're looking to see if they can make some more momentum in this second run of the race. And can anybody replicate what they were able to do with that third lane and get up to the outside and try to make some passes. The pace truck will make its way on a pit road on this lap into the safety of pit road and will be back under the green flag at a moment's notice. Green flag is out. A solid jump through most of this top 10. As you see, most of the field immediately shoot to the bottom, leaving Van Oostendorp out to dry. As you see just how strung out the back end of the top 15 gets. You could expect them to bunch up here soon with all the drivers going to that inside lane. And it's going to be Van Oostendorp on the outside with help from Jacob Locklear on the number 84. Hoping that he can get all the way back up to where he was on that front row. Joe Sanchez a little bit further back there as well. So is the 75 of AJ Green. With the 8 of Mikey Neal, the 38 of Kyle Benson. And Ethan Fonseca-Moreno after that pit stop mistake is still in this lead pack. And towards the back end of there's that 117 of Kenneth Bueno into the top 15. He's got a couple of teammates and allies behind him that are trying to close up that gap as well. As there immediately is Trevor Haley, who's made the run to the outside. Has help from Travis Van Oostendorp, and they are making headway to the front of the field. And Trevor Haley with a nose out in front going into turn number 3. Trevor Haley's known for these super speedway races. He had a couple good runs in the 4-wide series here. Almost won both of those Daytona events. Unfortunately, just wasn't meant to be for the driver of the 4 in that series. Can these trucks deliver him a different result here as we're a quarter way through tonight's event, and they are side by side at the front. Tell a lot of the field is more double wide than they were in that first run. We saw a bit of double wide, maybe 3 wide, and then they kind of strung out towards the back end of the lead draft. Not right now. They are properly side by side, as it looks like Van Oostendorp for a moment peeked to the middle. It's not exactly going to help the outside lane's momentum, but nonetheless, they make it through. As it appears there was an incident further back as the caution flag waves. I saw the back half of the field disappear, which is not normally a good thing. Trying to find here. There's Connor Zola and numerous other cars. I believe your pole sitter, Colin Forster, with some damage on his car. And a couple cars already making their way onto the pit lane for some damage repair. So it's up to us to find what caused this second caution of the race. And we'll try to get that to you as soon as possible. And it unfortunately will involve your pole sitter. Possibly started a little bit further up than where he was running. As we're still trying to find the actual location of the incident itself. And we believe we have almost gotten it. So we're about here as we're bringing now the replay. Looks like the 51 of Steven Maggio attempts to go to the inside, just up there, turns the, I'm not sure who that was. It was Tyler Murray, it seems. Or no, Tyler Murray was a little bit further back. But nonetheless, there's Murray avoiding the incident. And numerous other cars unable to really go anywhere. Try to see if I can get a better angle of that. The cars are cutting out. It's not allowing me to get a proper view of it. But I'll try to see if I can find something that delivers a better view. So here's the onboard here. Riding with CJ Munier, and there you see he hits the apron and gets into the outside wall. And then that cuts out for a brief moment before he tries to resume. So early trouble after going green the first almost 20 laps or so. A couple cautions here to bring us under the fray once more. As there you see a couple more pit stops, drivers trying to get more damage repair done to their vehicles. Not too many stops up in the front, actually a lot of stops done here under this caution. I believe most of the field has pit, with the exception of your top three, being Cody Spare, Shane DiMantova, JJ Hill. Those three drivers have stayed out under this yellow flag. They have not decided to pit. Could potentially work their way into a fuel strategy by staying out here. While we're under this caution, of course, we'll try to see if we can get another driver that we can talk to under this break. We'll have the number 68 of Mr. Alex Schumacher with us here in the booth. And Mr. Alex Schumacher, you got us?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Alex, this is the first race in the series history for the KBueno Racing Truck Series. We've seen you on the channel before in various other series. As you start here tonight in what is going to be a historic season, what was the anticipation like from your perspective, and then what has these opening 24 laps been like?
First and foremost, just looking forward to it all day. Just seeing, Charlie, Kenneth, Keelan, Eli, and everyone else that was involved to put this together. Those guys, we go way back. I've known them, since forever, basically. And it just feels like a giant reunion. It feels really good to kind of have this put on, and seeing some long lost friends, some friends I haven't raced with in forever, and most importantly, some friends I've always talked to, and just nice to see them on track still. So it's amazing to see everyone here. It's fun. I'm having a blast, and yeah, so far it's been great.
And how has the trucks been in the pack? We've seen 2, 3 wide. What is it like from behind the wheel to be in the middle of that mess, knowing that there's still almost 3/4 of the race remaining?
The pack racing in the trucks is the best in my opinion. So it looks aggressive, but I feel like everyone's just kind of riding around. There's a couple checkups here and there, especially on the inside, but for the most part, stability is pretty good. Just got to worry about pushing the guy at the wrong place and drifting up a lane or two and making the guy on the outside get tight or get put in a bad spot. So, but yeah, I think it's really fun. It's a really, really easy to race package, and it should produce some really great racing.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Shuey, and good luck in the rest of the race.
Thanks for everything, Francisco.
That's Alexander Schumacher, driver the 68, also known as the owner of Shuey Sportsbook. For all your odds and bet making, visit Shuey Sportsbook. You can make all bets on iRacing, and you may do so responsibly, of course. Wrapping up our second caution of the evening, and like I mentioned, there have been 3 drivers to stay out under this yellow flag. Cody Spare in the number 32. He'll take the inside lane from Shane DiMantova in the number 20, and JJ Hill in the number 21, the other driver to stay out under this yellow flag. We'll see how this goes for them on their fuel strategy, as the entire field behind them did come down pit road and at least take fuel only. Into the Geico restart zone. There's the launch for Spare. Not the greatest restart for JJ Hill, but it's enough to allow Shane DiMantova to get to the bottom. And look at Justin Rott try to squeeze in behind. He'll do so, but it allows Juergensmeyer and Nicholas Baumann to get a great run on the outside lane. Trevor Haley's going to try to give them the help, and they're now starting to stack up on the bottom. So Jonathan Juergensmeyer on the outside lane looking to make a run. And Juergensmeyer gets to the lead, goes immediately to the bottom, making sure he wastes no effort in clearing to the bottom, but that allows Trevor Haley, or Nicholas Baumann rather, to make a run on the outside lane, and Baumann will actually lead the lap with help from Trevor Haley, which is not only his KBueno Racing teammate, but in the 4-wide series, that is another teammate of his, as another caution flag comes out. Big crash on the exit of the tri-oval, numerous cars slamming into it. And JJ Hill's truck appears to be destroyed. See the 99, Juan Escamilla, with some big damage as well. He'll tow it to the garage. Kenneth Bueno might have gotten a piece of it. possibly Michael Walls as well. And let's see just exactly how our third yellow of the night unfolds from the World Center of Racing. And it happened towards back around here. So we were keeping an eye out on the front, so let's see what happens further back. There's the checkup on the bottom. JJ Hill gets squabbly. Michael Walls gets into him. Jamie Wright nearly ends up on the fence. And a big crash with Travis Van Oostendorp, Gabe Cazzola, among others. Try and see if we can get another view of this from Gabe Cazzola. And he actually missed it. So we'll try to see if we get a different perspective. Try and see if we can find the view from one of those involved in the incident, which included Travis Van Oostendorp. And here's the view from the number 42. Off of turn number 4, the checkup on the inside happens. Hill gets turned to the outside with Walls. There he gets hit from behind. Then he gets hit by Hill coming back down the racetrack. And there you see, gets up into the outside. There comes the 17 of Chris Progar. And it all ensues on the exit of the trial oval. We'll try and get one more look. This time from Kenneth Bueno's perspective. And he's the one that gets into the back. I wasn't sure if who exactly that was. But he gets into the back of somebody, gets some pretty good front end damage. Doesn't appear as though that there's much other damage to his racetrack besides that front end being bent in. So he's going to most likely be on the pit lane under this yellow flag repairing the vehicle, and sure enough he is. So under this caution, we'll try and see if we can speak to one of those drivers that happen to have been involved. We'll attempt to get our word here with JJ Hill in the number 21, as he was a part of that incident, one of the first to be involved. JJ, kind of talk us through that incident there. We saw you check up there, and all of a sudden it got wobbly, and we ended up crashing into the outside. Just kind of talk us through your perspective through that incident, what you saw.
I mean, it's one of those racing deals. I mean, checkups happen. It just is what it is there, and I tried to cut low because I knew the car behind me was not going to be able to see that in time either. I don't even think I saw it in time, and we kind of all just connected, and kablamo, we all went. It's crazy how we're checking up on the second lap of a restart and also racing these restarts like it's 5 to go. That's not what we should be doing. It's a little frustrating. I'm not mad at anybody. It's just the crappy part of Daytona racing.
And of course, this series has been a long time in the making. You're a close friend to all of us here on the KBueno Racing Network. So when you heard about this series starting up, what was the first thing that went through your mind? And then what is the sentiment now that you're here in this race?
Obviously I want to, just give a shout out to all the guys and KBRN and everybody involved in this entire series. Everybody did an incredible job getting this thing off the ground and running, and it's going to be a great series. It really is. It's a beautiful car count tonight. Everything's great about it. But as for me, coming into this race, it was just, I want to not make myself look like a dummy, and just kind of be up front a little bit, race good. And tonight is just, it's Daytona. Anything can happen. The whole DSR team, Keelan and Shane, are just looking forward to getting to these real racetracks and showing where we have speed, and looking forward to it, really. It's going to be a great year. Can't thank everybody at KBRN enough.
Thank you for the kind words there, JJ. We appreciate everything. Good luck in the rest of this race. Hopefully you can recover.
Thanks, Francisco.
JJ Hill, driver the number 21, looking to see if he can recover from this one. Still has a bit of a ways to go. But he'll try to do his best. In the remaining laps of this race, Nicholas Baumann, in the process, was able to take the race lead with his teammate Trevor Haley in the front row. AJ Green has found himself up into third rather. And he has done a great job in that number 75, teammate of Colin Forster, who was the pole sitter of this race. AJ has had his fair share of electric finishes here at Daytona, especially with his teammate Forster. Forster a little bit further down the running order right now, but you certainly can't rule him or AJ Green out of this one. Have been very dominant here in the past, and they can certainly do it again. And you can see just the long line of cars that are going to be lining up on that inside lane from damage repairs of pitting on pit road. Probably less than 10 cars on that outside lane as the green flag gets ready to come back out. And we are underway once again from Daytona, wrapping up our third yellow of the evening. And immediately to the outside is those teammates of Trevor Haley and Nicholas Baumann. Through the middle, Gabe Cazzola, leaving out Joe Sanchez. And he'll slide up in front of the 15. Maggio will try to fill the gap, has to think twice about it. And he'll have to stick behind the number 15. In the meantime, as Shane DiMantova jumps to the inside in the meantime. And immediately we're back to two wide action in the front of the field, and you'll see drivers jump through different lanes at several points through the night, just trying to figure out which one is the one that works best and trying to get themselves further up to the front. You see that outside lane with this duo has really worked well. Trevor Haley and Nicholas Baumann with Gabe Cazzola in third. Those are some really good super speedway drivers that know how to make things work here at Daytona. And slowly but surely we're working our way to the halfway point in this one. Very quickly going to be approaching that lap number 80 number. And it wouldn't surprise us if we did see overtime at some point in this one. But we'll see if we can get another stretch of green flag action, as the racing tonight has been absolutely fantastic. As there's AJ Green now on the inside looking for the race lead. Has the help from Duncan Fall in the number 16 truck. Justin Rott has recovered back up into third on the inside. And he has Ryan Bogey in the number 35 behind him. How about Ryan Bogey getting himself up into this top 10 already? A good run for the Boatster. Has help from Shane DiMantova behind him. Cody Spare behind the 20. And at the front, they remain door to door for the top spot. Nicholas Baumann, AJ Green, nobody willing to give an inch. And for a moment, looks like Cazzola drifted up the racetrack just a tiny bit. In turn 3, lost the gap to the 12 of Baumann. That's going to be enough for AJ Green to possibly clear for the top spot unless they get the momentum back. But Baumann fights back with help from Haley. He'll lead at the stripe. And they're officially back to nose to tail just like that. But Duncan Fall is not quite done helping Green, trying to get back out in front. And it looks like Green could clear her off of turn 2. He does momentarily, but does not jump up. Baumann now gets a great push from Haley. He'll get back even. That's Joe Sanchez getting shuffled to the third lane. Looks like he might have some help behind. That's the 51 of Stephen Maggio. And they have a great run. They go 3 wide for the race lead. Look at that view of the battle for the top spot, and it's Joe Sanchez with momentum on the outside and help from Maggio that gets him clear out in front, does not move over to the middle or bottom immediately. He wants to stay where the help came from. Now he'll go down, leaves Maggio up top with Mikey Neal, and there comes Bauman back, and Trevor Haley trying to see if they can take back the race lead. They get the momentum on the 15. There comes AJ Green to give the help. Jurgensmeyer fills the gap in the middle. And now back to the bottom goes the 88 of Nicholas Bauman. Maggio now struggling to keep it up top. Gabe Cazzola will find himself back to the bottom, and the outside lane has very quickly lost a little bit of its momentum. Now being led by Mikey Neal, and they're starting to drift back. Not exactly ideal stuff, as he has his teammate up there in Kenneth Bueno, who dips back down to the middle of the racetrack. And there's the pole sitter, Colin Forrester, number 71, working his way back to the front and being involved in an earlier incident. And Trevor Haley now trying to take the top spot away from his teammate Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in the middle of a KBueno Racing sandwich. Probably is confused as to which car is which. I know I am. But this middle portion of the race very clearly has been controlled by Nicholas Bauman and Trevor Haley. Haley now goes to the bottom. Jurgensmeyer will look for the top spot with help from Maggio. And they have a great run at that, because now there goes the 00, clearing for the top spot. Maggio blinks out for a moment, but he's all good now. It looks like for the moment things will settle down as Haley and Bauman drift up top, but that allows Joe Sanchez to creep back down to the bottom. Nearly making door-to-door contact. Looks like there's a gap behind Duncan Fall on that inside lane, with Jacob Locklear working his way up through this top 10, and Chris Progar, league owner, one of the league owners of Dropping the Hammer Cup Series, which rounded its championship yesterday. For those of you that may have not watched that finale last night, the championship went to the hands of Zachary Hall, who captured his first career win in clutch effort at the Homestead Miami Speedway to take home the championship, defeating Lawson Peel, Brandon Banks, and his teammate Cedric Hunter for the prize. And Progar now works his way to the outside, which clearly has the momentum now, and is trying to follow those Chevrolets that are all lined up on the top and the one Toyota in front. Haley ducks to the bottom, and they'll control both lines for now, as there's 3 wide further back. That's the 71 of Colin Forster that makes it 3 wide for a moment. Benson drips back down to the bottom. Lautenslager will sit behind the 71. So 3 wide is being used sparingly here in this portion of the race, not actively as it has been in the past. And this is what your 29-car lead draft looks like. 31 cars are on the lead lap. However, Ethan Fonseca Moreno and Tyler Murray, these two have had some history, but they're trying to work together to stay on the lead lap as of now. First car 1 lap down is Kyle Benson, as we saw in that lead draft. So is Travis Van Oostendorp and JJ Hill. They're looking to get laps back in this race. 13 laps down, Juan Escamilla. 16 laps down, CJ Munier. Out of this race, Connor Zola, Jesse Prees, Jason Hastings, and Keelan Belsha. And there goes Jonathan Jurgensmeyer as we've passed the halfway point in this race, leads the halfway lap. Still has the help from Trevor Haley and Nicholas Bauman, as Maggio finds himself back on the bottom with help from Joe Sanchez. And Maggio sideways for a moment. That's not going to help that inside lane's momentum. Jamie Wright finds himself on the top, and Progar enters the top 5. And look at Trevor Haley now, with help from Bauman, leave the 00 out on the very outside. They will join Maggio on the bottom to make it 3 KBueno Racing drivers in a row on the inside. And look what that does to the outside. It just stacked them up, and now the inside has its own proper stack up as they all start bumping one another. But it works out for now. They're still kind of strung out behind the 89 of Jamie Wright as Maggio blinks out a little bit once more. But while we're sitting here, lap number 42 in this race, why don't you take an opportunity to turn up the sounds and crank it up here on the KBueno Racing Network. The beautiful sounds of race trucks going around the Daytona International Speedway at 185 miles per hour. And the racing up front has not cooled down. It still remains, though, Trevor Haley, Steven Maggio, Joe Sanchez, and Nicholas Baumann, the main contenders up in the front, with AJ Green, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer as well, as there's appears to be almost a three-wide moment with Joe Sanchez peeking to the middle that allows Baumann to shoot the gap to the bottom of Maggio. And they'll go side by side at the front. Jurgensmeyer now pushing the 51. And these drivers, at least the majority of the field, has gone about 20 or so laps since their pit stop. So if we remain under the green flag for at least an additional 10 or so, possible green flag pit stops could be on the horizon. But we could see some drivers possibly short pit. It's not the most absurd strategy in the world to try, especially if you're a group like Brandon Banks and a couple of these Drinker Bros racing trucks that have lost touch with the main draft but they're sitting here together. Banks, Newbraw, Kivett, Schaefer. They have always played this kind of strategy together in which they just hang back, let the craziness up in the front kind of play out, and then worry about going up there and challenging for the race lead if a late yellow comes out or by some alternative strategy. But they're all running some pretty nice chocolate bar or beer can cars and vehicles. And they're about 7 or so seconds off the race lead. So we'll see what kind of strategy they decide to pull here in the remaining 32 laps. As it's still side by side, Maggio, Bauman, nobody giving an inch. The racing has been intense, but you won't miss a thing. We'll take an opportunity to go side by side before possible green flag pit stops. You won't miss a thing. We're watching the KBueno Racing Truck Series debut from Daytona.
Let's go. What's up? What's up, Kenneth? How you doing, man? How are you? Good. How you been? What you got in the bag, man?
I got a panini. I have a hoagie. I got it all through the Wall Rewards app.
You can order it all through the app.
You can order it all through the app.
I can order it all through the app. The world is my oyster! By placing your order on the Wawa app, you can pick up at any time with ultimate satisfaction. Gotta have a Wawa.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And back here at Daytona, and you saw it right there. Green flag pit stops. Joe Sanchez, Nicholas Bauman, Trevor Haley, AJ Green making some stops. And the window to make it to the end most likely open. And they're all into their stalls. You see a couple of the cars jacking the right sides up, possibly taking some tires. And there they go, the 12 underway, 15, 88, 75, and they're all relatively close to one another. They're going to have to get sorted out as they are nearly 3 wide. And we'll see if anybody else in this main pack decides to pit. For now, the answer is yes. Further back, Mikey Neal, possibly Duncan Fall. As it looks like Fall is entering way hot contact between Cazzola and Walls. They'll make their way into the pit stall. And backing up is Michael Walls, had missed his stall, and that's going to cost himself some time. Fall misses it as well. So not exactly the best pit stop execution on that particular bunch. The question is, when does a lot of this main pack pit? The undercut here, pitting early for the fuel, is a definite worthwhile strategy. You complete the pit stop. If a caution comes out, you're protected because you could just stay out and take the track position away, which clearly today the track position has mattered. And look at Jamie Wright get to the top spot. First time we called his name all night long, and he'll lead lap number 53. Up there with him, the 87 of Curtis Kelly, Cody Spare in the number 32. Jacob Locklear in this top 10 as well. Numerous of these guys have not really seen the light of day at the very front of this top 5 or 10. But they're here now in the closing stages of this race. There's Nicholas Bauman and that 4-car team, 4-car group that pitted there's that second group, a little bit more strung out just behind this group, being led by Gabe Cazzola with help from Justin Rott. Duncan Fall a little bit further back. Bogey and Michael Walls are trying to do their best to keep up, but they are very strung out. Very tough to know if Cazzola and the whole group will try to hang back to let them catch up, because they are making grounds on that first group up front. As I believe a second group of cars is possibly making it down pit road, and that's the Drinking Bros Racing team with numerous other cars, I believe, on pit road as well. And indeed so, Kenneth Bueno in among others, so a good portion of the lead pack has pitted here as well. There's the 117. He'll be approximately fourth as Schumacher leads their way off the pit lane with Lautenschlager, Jamie Wright in front. But they have a pretty decent gap back to Chris Progar, Craig Parks, and Jacob Locklear and the rest of this group. And here comes Nicholas Baumann and that formed up pack now properly. They were able to catch up, and they'll go by this group in a decent margin. And you can see that they're going to blend right with this group, and Maggio's at the very front of it. As you see, they're going to have to bob and weave, near going 3 wide. But they will settle out at the front of this very group. And leading it is going to be Nicholas Baumann. And they go single file immediately. And it looks like the rest of the leaders have made their pit stop. There's Colin Forrester, Shane D. Mantova, Curtis Kelly, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who's a lap down, but pitted with the lead group in hopes of trying to get the free pass. He was with Tyler Murray earlier, but there comes that formed up group led by Nicholas Baumann, and they're now on the outside lane to properly let this pack go. And if they keep this up even after getting by this group, I'll tell you what, I've never seen, and I'll stop right there because I've never seen single file on the outside with the trucks. But they kind of merged in an awkward enough spot to where further back in this lead group, they're definitely racing proper. And it's about 19 or so trucks that are in this group, this being the last one of them, Mikey Neal. And then you see that big gap back to Craig Parks being pushed by the lap car of Kyle Benson, Jacob Locklear, Eric Schaefer. And they're getting dicey a little bit further back in the pack, but up in the first 5 or so, it's relatively calm stuff. But how long would it stay that way? Murray on the outside is a lap car. He is racing Ethan Fonseca Moreno for that free pass position. They're both in this lead draft, and it's going to be the lap car of Tyler Murray leading the outside, but who's not a lap car is the driver behind him, the 78 of Craig Lautenschlager. Those are teammates. Lautenschlager right now will take over the race lead. And him and Murray duck to the bottom. 78 will lead this race. And we'll see how Maggio and the rest of this group go about playing this game, knowing that the car that's leading the group is a lap vehicle. Maggio will jump to the outside though, and with help from Jamie Wright, the 51 will get clear. Jamie Wright basically gets clear as well. That allows Shane D. Mantova to lead the outside lane. And there's the help from Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Murray gets squiggly on the bottom. And that right there is the battle for the free pass between the 77 and the 36. And it's happening at the very front of the lead pack. So as they're racing each other for position for the win, they're racing each other for the free pass in the exact same spot on the racetrack. And they're all catching up to lap car JJ Hill, who's had that big damage from that earlier incident. Unfortunately, we'll go another lap down in this one. Held his line beautifully there as the pack goes by. And Shane D. Mantova with a great run through the outside lane. Goes into turn 3 with the help from the 77. Trying to get even with your race leader. And the pack did kind of split up as some of them got held back by JJ Hill. See a little bit further back behind Gabe Cazzola, they all got hung up behind JJ Hill. Not exactly sure if that was in the process of lapping him or such, but they've lost touch with that lead group at about 1.6 seconds. If they're able to get back going and group together and make a run towards this lead pack, we'll see what that does, but that leaves the opening 13 or so cars in a proper draft, as now it's Ethan Fonseca Moreno on the outside trying to unlap himself. Tyler Murray, the other car he's racing, is just behind the car that's pushing him in Jonathan Jorgensmeyer, who's trying to see if he can take the race lead away from D Mantova. The 77 will clear, not the race leader, but Jorgensmeyer will go up there now. The 00 and the 20 racing each other for the race lead with 20 laps to go in this one. 2 lap cars are at the very front of the field, racing to either unlap themselves or be the first car 1 lap down. The other one won't care as much if they're in front of this whole group, because the other one will just get the free pass. If they're both behind whoever the race leader may be, the first one, when the yellow flag waves, will be the free pass and get one of their laps back, as you probably would not expect a lot of the field to come back down pit road, as they've already made their final pit stops and they'll bet on overtime. So wave around is not likely on the cards. It's all about getting this lap back right here, right now. A little bit of a checkup on the bottom where Alex Schumacher is. That really checks up that bottom lane, and there comes that second group that was well far behind. They have gotten a sizable run here, being led by Kenneth Bueno, who jumped up in front of Kyle Benson and Gabe Cazzola, and Bueno finds himself up into seventh behind behind Chris Progar, who's making a run on the outside lane. That outside has some pretty good momentum in it. And how about Kenneth Bueno into the top 5 late in the going? Side by side at the front. That's the 38 of Kyle Benson that goes to the outside. He's a lap machine as well. But he is, I believe, 2 laps down. No, he's 1 down. So he's in this fight as well, of trying to get 1 lap back. As things at the front are starting to get spicy with Maggio. And you can see the lap cars have made their way to the front of each line. So neither of them are a lap down in this race, but they are definitely playing a huge outcome in this battle. And I can't say I've seen this in the closing laps of the race, where 2 lap cars are leading each line, and then you toss in Benson, who's basically somewhat in the top 10 of this group. You got 3 lap cars at the front of the field with approaching 17 laps to go, and there is the 95 of Gabe Cazzola making a charge on the very outside. He'll go 3 wide, and he'll take the lead away from Steven Maggio. Help from Justin Rott in the number 76, who's been a great pusher from earlier in the race, and some of those GOAT Inc. drivers finding themselves up in the front once again after that opening run. Murray goes to the bottom in front of Moreno, Maggio and Jorgensmeyer to the middle. They'll go by the number 2 of Chris Fowler, who lets the field go by on the apron. All the while, Tyler Murray and Ethan Fonseca Moreno have tried their very best to stay on the lead lap or be the first car 1 lap down. And it's in Murray's best interest to let the 77 unlap himself, because he would probably want Benson to be back on the lead lap to help himself in any chance they have in losing laps in this race. So he has to kind of work with Moreno to get them both back on the lead lap, knowing that Benson's a little bit further back. And you can see that that's exactly what he's thinking, because he is making blocks like he's racing for the win. And there's Cazzola on the outside. Help from Rott. Goes 3 wide for the lead on the very outside, but now he's properly in the lead, but he's not clear of the lanes with those 2 lapper machines to his inside. And you have to wonder, can they go the remaining 15 racing like this? You heard Alex Schumacher talk about they're going 3 wide, but It's actually quite tame when you're in the middle of this whole mess, and it's probably true. But at some point, the intensity just ratchets up another notch. But can they keep it this way for the final? Now 14 laps when they come across the start-finish line in the season opener. The pack has reformed to a proper group of 24 plus 3 lap vehicles. Shane DiMantova right now scored as the race leader on the inside, but Maggio trying to take it on the outside. Jurgensmeyer trying to now push 5th to 51 with Cazzola on the outside with Rott. And there very quickly is Kyle Benson, another lap machine, quickly getting up towards the front. If the 3 of those lap vehicles can take control of each line, that is going to be unprecedented to see 3 lap vehicles control 3 lanes in the final 10 laps of the race. But it could happen. And you can see that outside lane is on its last stretches. Cazzola and Raw are trying to do their best to make it work. There's no really strong amount of cars in the middle, but there's so many more on the bottom. If they get the help, you could help but feel that they could get up there. You see a little bit of contact between the 17 and the 95 as JJ Hill will get out of the way on the inside on the apron this time. With 12 laps to go. 2 lap cars are in front of everybody else. 3 of them on the first 4 spots on the inside. And as of right now, it's Steven Maggio scored as the race leader with help from Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. These are a couple of pairs of drivers that have been at the front of this field for a good portion of this race, trying their very best to see if they can win it all in the very first try. And with every lap, it'll get more intense as Cazzola, with a great run on the outside, he'll clear the middle and he'll leave Rott on the very outside to fend for himself. Curtis Kelly will close up to the back of the 76, but Cazzola with the aggressive move, and that was probably a move he had to make. He knows that those lap cars are on the inside, so there's probably not a strong chance he'll get past from the bottom. He controls that middle lane now, and if anybody has to make a pass, it has to be coming from that third line, so long as it remains this way in the final 10 and a half. And look how squirrely the 51 of Maggio gets in the middle of it all. And it could get worse. As the tires wear, the fuel goes down, the race nears its end. 10 to go from Daytona. And nearly contact there between Moreno and Maggio as Rock gets up into the outside wall. He had help from Curtis Kelly and Kenneth Bueno. They'll lose a little bit of momentum, and it'll be back down to double file up front. And you can see the long train of cars on that inside lane, going all the way back to 24th in the official running order of AJ Green. Joe Sanchez, Bauman back in that group as well. Trevor Haley had some issues as well. He's a little bit further down the running order. These are drivers that were up in the front in this position. But as of right now, it's Gabe Cazzola leading this race from Steven Maggio and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. The first 3 in the running order are the first 3 cars on the outside lane. DiMantova is the first lead lap vehicle on the inside lane. And it's going to be a very difficult situation for the 20 to try and win the race from that spot. But he's boxed in. There's nothing he can do. You see that third lane possibly trying to get reformed. But they're just leaving a couple cars behind. Now Lautenschlager jumps up there. Bueno will go through the middle as Curtis Kelly jumps up there. Him and Kelly will make up some time. They've got properly lined up nose to tail. And look at the momentum they're able to have. They're making some strong runs despite almost grazing the outside wall, which Kelly actually does. And it sucked him up into the wall that time. He'll lose a lot of momentum. It looks like someone else jumped up there, though. I believe that's the 117, Mr. Kenneth Bueno. Trying to make something out of these remaining, now almost 7 laps. And they'll have a chance, him and Lautenschlager, to make that third lane work. It's going to be difficult. But we've seen it happen all night long. A driver can jump up to the third lane. And look at it go. They're almost level with Jurgensmeyer. Even in the corner, they got a huge run. Maggio thinks about blocking it, but he can't. Here comes Craig Lautenschlager. He's side by side for a second. Now he's side by side with Cazzola for the lead. Loses a little bit of momentum on corner entry, and you can see numerous other cars have gone to that third lane. They know that's where the opportunity is going to arise with those lap cars on the inside. Shane DiMantova is in a box, but Lautenschlager, Bueno, Curtis Kelly, Joe Sanchez, AJ Green, they are on the attack with 6 laps remaining. A little bit squirrely is Kelly and Sanchez. They've struggled at making that third lane work. They've had troubles of staying off the wall. Tyler Murray is trying everything he can to remain on the lead lap. In front of Gabe Cazzola. And you can see Craig Lautenschlager trying everything he can to make that third lane work and try something. Anything he can. With a runoff forward to get side by side with the leader. We're 3 wide. 5 laps to go. And you have to think if Lautenschlager clears, he's going to move down as soon as possible. He doesn't there. As there's a wreck, the big one. Cazzola gets turned. Bueno gets in it. Curtis Kelly, numerous cars junk it up here in turn number 2. And you just had to think it was going to be trouble for them to remain racing that aggressively, and in it all is Kenneth Bueno, who tows it back to the garage with a chance to win that race with 5 laps to go. And it all vanishes. Let's get a replay and uncover the accident here. So they were 3 wide. And it looks like there was contact on the inside. Cazzola possibly gets hooked by Ethan Fonseca. And that's what sends them all around. Maggio down into the door of Benson. Numerous other cars sliding in. But it doesn't look like that many cars got that much damage. Definitely looks like Kenneth got the worst end of the deal. Let's go on board with him here. See Cazzola gets turned there and unfortunately sends him back up the track, which his car gets its right side tires up off the ground and then proceeds to have its rear bumper lifted off the ground and had some big damage to his car. He couldn't drive it back to pit road, and that's going to be night over for the number 17. See if we can get a look here from Ethan Fonseca Moreno, which is where we believe the incident originated from. So here we are on board with Moreno, second car on the inside. Right there's the contact with Maggio, and just barely Moreno drifts up. And it's enough. Just enough. and it causes a big melee. Numerous cars torn up in this one. And while we're under caution, we'll get an opportunity to talk with Mr. Shane DiMantova, who was on the inside lane for most of that run. Shane, you were in the middle of, or bottom of 3 wide for a large portion of that final run, with lap cars in front of you, lap cars behind you, 2 lanes to your outside. What was going through your mind there?
I mean, it was just nuts, honestly, Francisco. I mean, I knew I was going to be really close on fuel, so just trying to at least save a little bit of fuel there, but also keep up. But obviously, we got caught up in that just a little tiny bit. We got all the damage fixed here, so hopefully go make her another run at it now. But otherwise, it's just been a really fun race. I mean, got to thank you, obviously, for doing the broadcast, Kenneth, Charlie, Keelan, everybody for putting this whole thing on and be able to race with my friends. It's been really cool.
Well, thank you for your time here, Shane. We wish you good luck in this green-white checkered finish.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can get this constant contact machine in victory lane here. We'll see what happens.
That's Shane DiMantova, driver number 20, Constant Contact Chevrolet. He'll try to go to victory lane from Daytona. We'll see if we could get a chance to talk with the man himself, Big Boss, and get his thoughts on the incident. He was up front battling for this race win inside of 5 laps to go when the incident happened. Kenneth, you looked strong there in those closing laps. You and Lautenschlager were making that outside lane work, and then unfortunately contact between Moreno and Cazzola sends the 95 spinning, and you just had nowhere to go in that incident. What was it like this whole race, being in the position that you were in and having a chance at the win here late in the going?
Man, it was nerve-wracking. As soon as I came down pit road with everybody else, I looked at how many estimated laps I had left, and I was looking at it, I was like, I'm good. I was good by at least a lap. And, when it came down to lap 64, 65, in my head, I'm just like, I want to go. I'm going in with nothing to lose. I'm going to be respectful, obviously, but I'm going to make smart decisions to put myself to the front. And I was willing to extend to a 3rd lane. I saw that Lautenschlager and Kelly were making it work, so I was like, okay, maybe I can join them and try to make something happen. And I mean, we were just about to take the lead. If we had stayed clean and we came off of turn 2, I think I would have pushed Lautenschlager to the front, and the 3rd lane, would have had some more momentum. But yeah, just nowhere to go. I mean, you're on that outside. We're 3 abreast. We're all over the place. So as soon as that happened, it was obviously nothing I could do. It was just right up against the wall with nowhere else to go. But it was fun. I mean, everyone was racing great. We were racing 3 wide for the lead, multiple rows. So yeah, it was fun, nerve-wracking, but tough that it ended like this.
And I gotta ask a second question. Do you have the cars too damaged we can't finish?
As far as I know, yes. We're done. The truck was immediately toast when we were parked on the apron, and I tried to put some gas in it, but yeah, it's too much, so we'll be done for today.
Oh, that's unfortunate, Kenneth. You had a strong run going. It's been an excellent race here up in the booth. These drivers have done a great job all night long, and I know it wasn't the result you were hoping for, but still a great debut of the series for now. We'll have a green-white checkered on our hands. I hope you get to watch this with much excitement.
Appreciate it, Francisco. It's a tough ending, but I'm excited to see what these guys can cook up for this green-white checkered.
All right, thank you, and let's get ready for this overtime restart. We have 3 overtime attempts available for these drivers to try to finish this race under the green flag. If the caution comes out before the white flag is displayed, we'll rack them up and do it again. If the caution flag comes out on the final attempt, then the race will end. If we get to the white flag, the race is over no matter what. And into the restart zone, Jurgensmeyer gets a great launch. Chris Progard does not. And that really stacks up the outside lane big time. As they go back for turn 1, it's going to be a huge dump for the outside duo. That's not exactly ideal. But Cody Spare now gets a good run. He'll drift up high. So does Jamie Wright, who tries to block him. And he's going to go around. Jamie Wright spins in front of the field. Another big crash as the 89 goes upside down. Up and over went Jamie Wright towards the outside wall and into the catch fence. And he'll keep it rolling with minimal damage. They had a huge jump on the front row, and eventually they all just came colliding together on those block attempts after everybody got a run. And let's see if we can have a secondary look at the incident. We'll go all the way back to the restart. We were explaining the overtime. Let's see if we can uncover the incident all the way back to the restart. So the pace truck exits pit lane. The field's in the control of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who enters the restart zone, gets the push from Jamie Wright. Chris Progar does not get a good job of launching once again. That leaves Cody Spare to fill the gap in third. Trevor Haley tries to move up into fourth in the process. You see almost contact there between the 12 and the 17, but then right there, Spare goes to the outside, gets blocked, and that forces tight 3 wide. And you can see numerous cars get involved, and Jamie Wright was lucky that Spare was there, otherwise his car was going upside down. Let's get the onboard view from the 89, if possible. He goes up, makes the move. There comes Cody Spare. There's the block to the inside. And this is a view. I'll tell you what, you never want to see a lot of blue. It's usually indicative of the sky. The only time I want to see a lot of blue is when I'm rotating on takeoff. But that was not a fun ride that Jamie Wright was hoping to look for in tonight's race. He'll continue, and he'll repair the damage to his race car. But not ideal on the first overtime attempt of this race. And this will bring us into attempt number 2 of overtime, which, as I was saying, if the caution flag waves before the white, we rack them up and do it again, much like we're doing so now. And if the caution flag were to happen on that final attempt, much like it did here, the race would end on that restart. If we get to the white flag, it is all game to the checkered flag. We'll see if we can get a word with our second place runner in this race, Trevor Haley, who was dominant in the earlier portion of the race with help of his teammates, and now he finds himself back up into second. And Trevor, it's been an up and down race in this second half, but in the middle portion and early portion, you look like one of the fastest cars out there. You got back up to second, avoiding the mayhem. What do you need to do to win this race?
Oh man, just hopefully you can get a good restart and keep up with Jug here, and hopefully I can get pushed behind from I guess Collins behind me, so hopefully we can see what happens here.
And how's the race been from your perspective? I know I mentioned that you were at the front for a good portion of the field, but what was it like from the driver's seat in this brand new series run by a couple of names that you've known for a while now in the high racing?
It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of like 3 wide and a lot of passes for the lead. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it.
We appreciate the time you take, Trevor. You're coming down to 1 to green, and on the second overtime restart attempt, we wish you luck on this restart.
Awesome, thank you.
That's Trevor Haley, driver of the number 12 KBRN Chevrolet, looking to go to victory lane here from the World Center of Racing. He's had plenty of opportunities to do so in the past, of course in the 4 wide series namely. He's had a few opportunities. Pole sitter Colin Forster's back in it. He's on that outside lane in his 711 Chevrolet. Don't count out the pole sitter from this one. He's got AJ Green a few rows back. They'll find a way to link up, I'm sure. Alexander Schumacher has found himself up into 6th late in the going here, with Craig Lautenslugger, who was making that 3rd lane work. Ryan Bogey will find himself in the 7th spot for this restart. Jacob Locklear in 9th. Tony Kivitt will be in the 12th spot. So definitely could be a huge, huge gain for numerous drivers if this final sequence of laps plays out the way they desire it to be. The lights are off on the pace car. It'll be the second attempt of overtime. We'll have one more available if time comes. As Jurgensmeyer struggled to get the car back going there, you have to think in mind that there's numerous cars that pitted here under this caution. In fact, Jurgensmeyer and Forrester have the longest time on their stints right now. They're going to be very tight on fuel most likely, even with the caution laps, as the pace truck goes back down pit road. And we'll be back under green. Jurgensmeyer and Rott get a great launch. That leaves out Trevor Haley a little bit. Forrester does not give him the push he was hoping for. And immediately Rott jumps to the outside. The caution flag waves. A stack up in the back as Rott actually got stacked up there. Chris Progar and I believe the 29 machine of Alex Benyako. Trouble in the back. Looks like it was on the go. Looks like they were stacking up after a few rows. The 6 peaks to the outside, gets the 29 sideways, and they just kind of wreck. And that happened early in the go to bring out the caution flag once again, which will put us into our third and final overtime attempt. I'll try to see if I can find the moment between Trevor Haley and Justin Rott on the turn 1 when the caution comes out. That was nearly a close call for Rott, who jumped out of line and immediately slowed down in front of the 12. But this is a huge yellow in terms of its timing. There you see the yellow come out. There's the contact. Rott lucky to keep that thing straight. But it puts Rott in second, Lautenschlager third, Haley fourth, and Forster fifth. So it changes the order slightly. But Jurgensmeyer keeps the race lead. But now he has to think about this restart once again. He's gotten a good couple of launches. And I think he's thinking about trying to keep this race lead at least until the white flag. If he can do that, then it's going to be a relatively easy time for him to be able to, as the pace truck is all the way in turn 4, but Jurgensmeyer actually has to pit. I guess he does not have enough fuel for overtime. And that'll put Justin Rott in the race lead. Forster's going to pit as well. So that goes to show those two extremely tight on fuel. They were not going to be able to make it. They'll come in for a splash knowing that this is the final overtime attempt, and they'll get back going. And this shuffles up the order even more. Now Justin Rott finds himself in the race lead. Craig Lautenschlager will line up on the front row. Trevor Haley will be third. Ryan Bogey with a great run in fourth. Alex Schumacher fifth. Jacob Locklear sixth. AJ Green in seventh. Brandon Banks eighth. Mikey Neal ninth. And Tony Kivitt will be in the top 10. And I'll tell you what, even though some of these drivers have pitted, you're seeing a lot of them on the apron. They probably filled up enough to get to maybe 2 attempts. They probably didn't count with all 3. But who knows? We've seen the iRacing fuel fill you up probably not all the way to the very end of the race, and it has played havoc before. And it could play havoc before this race is over on what is our third and final attempt. And to reiterate, if a caution flag comes out before the white flag on this restart, whoever's out front at the time of caution wins the race. If we make it back to the white flag, we will have a race winner determined at the start-finish line at the wave of the checkered flag. Tensions at their highest as the lights still remain on this pace truck. And it's going to be Justin Rott choosing his lane. And he'll choose the outside. That is the first time all night long that a driver has chosen the outside lane And he's got a good friend and Ryan Bogey lining up behind him, which I think is what he wants. It leaves Lautenschlager on the inside with two KBueno Racing drivers, followed by an ally of Duncan Fall. As it stands, there are 31 drivers on the lead lap, going back to Curtis Kelly, running 31st. Anybody of those 31 can still win this race. We'll just see if it will take the 5 miles to do so. Well, this is it. One final opportunity for these drivers to make something of this race, to win the inaugural KBRN Truck Series. The pace truck goes to pit road for the final time. Justin Rott leads into the Geico restart zone, and we're back underway. He gets the push from Ryan Bogey back to the exit of the trial hole. It was a solid push, but not good enough. Lautenschlager with a better run. He'll go to the race lead in turn 1. Trevor Haley, Alex Schumacher deliver great pushes. Haley gets clear. He has the outside available to him. And they're already starting to fan out too wide, and trouble in the back. They're getting turned. Upside down goes Ryan Bogey. Side by side for the lead at the caution. And I believe it's Trevor Haley. We'll have to look back at the time of caution, but most likely it could be Trevor Haley getting his first career win. And sure enough, when the yellow flag waves, Trevor Haley, half a truck length out front of Craig Lautenschlager. We'll get multiple looks at replays later on. But right here is the moment that I'm sure he's been dreaming about. Behind the pace car, which is not the way he imagined it, I would assume. But he'll take it any way possible. Led a lot of laps tonight. And it took a caution flag on the final restart to end the race. And for the first time in series history, the KBueno Racing Network colors are going to victory lane in the series opener from Daytona. It is Trevor Haley taking home the crown. A phenomenal effort by the driver of the 12, with 3 KBueno Racing drivers in the top 5. Brandon Banks, Duncan Fall, Tyler Murray, who was a lap down late, Michael Walls, and Nicholas Bauman round out your top 10. I'll try and get a look at the exact cause of that yellow flag on the final lap. We saw Ryan Bogey nearly go upside down. So we see Bogey and Rott pushing each other down the backstretch. Trevor Haley moves up. Looks like just a bad push onto Rott. Sends them around. I believe it was Duncan Fall as well who caught some air. Had a better look at it here. There's the push gone wrong further up. And that's Jacob Locklear. Up and over. Oh my. And so does Cody Spare. Numerous cars flipped here. It was a big accident here on the final lap of Daytona, with multiple vehicles going up and over. We'll attempt to get you those views of those troubled cars. And here's the view from Cody Spare. I thought that was Cody Spare. That was actually Shane DiMantova. My apologies there, as we'll get you the Cody Spare replay. He was just behind Shane DiMantova, gets clipped in the left rear, and oh my. A violent wreck for the 32. And it was another violent one for Jacob Locklear. Shades of Ryan Preece. Doesn't even let you view it that well from just how chaotic it was. Yeah, just kind of goes away right there. But we do have the view on Cody Spare. And this is not pretty, as Bogey did go into the fence as well. There's the 32 violently flipping through the grass. But rightfully celebrating a very important win is Trevor Haley, who had a phenomenal performance at the end of 3 overtime attempts and going through those restarts. And here's the celebration by the number 12, as the celebrations are going to be, for a while, a win at Daytona. He'll join his teammates here on the front stretch for Paul's setup shot victory lane. A big win for the organization that carries the name of the of the channel on the car. How fitting. And he'll celebrate all night long. And with that, we'll take you through to our final race results. Of course, everything pending unofficial race results. So we'll go through our results here and take you through our top 10. If the result screens will show up on the screen. But winning will be Trevor Haley in the number 12, with Craig Lautenslager finishing in second. Alex Schumacher comes away in third, with Tony Kivitt in fourth. Mikey Neal with a great top 5 effort. He'll finish in the 5th position, with Brandon Banks in the 6th spot. as there's the results page. 7th will go to Duncan Fall in the number 16. Tyler Murray overcomes being a lap car and finishes in 8th. Michael Walls will finish in 9th. Nicholas Bauman rounds out the top 10. 11th will go to Shane DiMantova. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in 12th. Kyle Benson 13th. Ethan Fonseca Moreno recovers up to 14th. Gabe Cazzola was in contention there. Late finishes 15th. Craig Parks will finish 16th. Stephen Maggio will finish in the 17th spot. Chris Progar will finish in 18th. Colin Forrester in 19th after sitting all on the pole. Jamie Wright, who ended up on the outside fence, will finish in the 20th spot. 21st will go to Michael Newbraw, AJ Green 22nd, Alex Benyaka will finish 23rd, Curtis Kelly in 24th, Eric Schaefer will finish 25th, Chris Fowler will finish in the 26th position with Joe Sanchez in 27th, Ryan Bogey, who was up front late there, will finish 28th, Cody Spare 29th, and Jacob Locklear. Those two going for huge tumbles down the back straightaway round out the top 30. And on the final results page for this evening, Justin Rott will finish 31st. JJ Hill will finish 32nd, 3 laps down. Kenneth Bueno, an unfortunate early end after being involved in that wreck with 5 to go, will finish 33rd. Travis Van Usen 34th. 35th will go to Juan Escamilla, CJ Munier 36th, Connor Zola 37th, Jason Hastings will finish 38th, Christopher Bishop 39th, and rounding out our 40-car max field from the series opener is going to be Keelan Belsha in his number 18. And that'll bring us to the best part of our broadcast every single evening when we get to talk with our race winner. And it's a special one because it is the first win in this series, and it goes to a KBueno Racing driver. Trevor, what a run. We talked to you during that caution late in the going, and obviously I'm sure it wasn't the way you were hoping for as far as the caution that comes out on the final attempt, but it's a win at Daytona. What is going through your mind right now?
Man, I don't know. Let's go. That was crazy. I didn't know I had it when that caution came out at first, but I said I could catch the pace car, so I knew I got it then. So.
And what was it like in those closing stages when you kept facing overtime restart after overtime restart, just hoping that eventually one of them would go green long enough for you to make some kind of a move like that last one?
Yeah, well, we kept getting those restarts. I knew the trucks in front of me couldn't make it on fuel, so every time we would get in a caution, one or two or three would pit, and they would just move me up a few lanes. And I had Alexander behind me and pushing me on that restart, and it got me clear of the outside lane, so I just jumped up, and then I got that shove right before that happened. Got the lead.
And of course, this is a big win for you, Trevor, momentum-wise, not just here for this series since it's brand new, but also just in leagues in general. We're going back into the full swing of things with the 4-wide series here shortly from Daytona in a week's time with the duel. So what does this mean for you momentum-wise when you talk about a series like that, but also moving forward into once we get into full swing of things in the schedule, knowing that you can rest easy knowing that you're already a race winner in this season?
Yeah, man, it's been a long time coming. It feels like I've had a lot of bad luck in other series that you all broadcast, but being able to start the season out with a win is huge. Hopefully carries momentum on to next week, and you never know, maybe we'll get a championship.
And before I let you go, Trevor, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and your 12 team?
Yeah, all my teammates, especially Alex there for pushing me to the lead, and you guys for broadcasting and setting up all this league and everybody watching.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Trevor. Congratulations on being the inaugural winner of the KBueno Racing Truck Series action here on Monday nights. We hope to see you soon. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Trevor Haley, your inaugural race winner in the KBueno Racing Truck Series, leads 10 laps en route to victory, and he'll celebrate all night long. We'll move back an additional spot to the runner-up for tonight's finishing event. It's going to be the number 78 of Craig Lautenslager, who just unfortunately comes up one spot short. And Craig, what a run. You had a great run all night long, but particularly in the late stages of the race, you tried to form up that third lane, and it looked like it was going. You and Kenneth were making it work. The overtime restarts set in. What was going through your mind throughout the entirety of the race, and once you were in position to go for the win there?
Well, the first thing I had in my mind is that my Moza base did a firmware update or something, and it was all janky. It was like vibrating. It was shaking my whole rig. So I had to deal with that the entire time. And thankfully it didn't have any other issues, but yeah, we just kind of stayed in line and rode around most of the race. And then late in the race, we're kind of mired in that 3 wide racing, and the top opened up. I tried it, and initially no one went with me, but I kind of just hung in there long enough that Kenneth eventually got to me. And once he started pushing me, we were going somewhere. And that caution came out. I held on to it and got through it, and then made a savvy move to come down and take fuel. And then we only lost like 5 positions, and eventually got to the front anyway. So unfortunately, just not quite good enough for a win, I guess. But it's hard when you got other people's team's drivers right behind you. So you obviously know they're gonna let you go and try to take the lead themselves. So no, it's a good start to this league.
And was there anything that you felt you could have done differently through any of those overtime restarts that you felt like could have given you a better chance to win the race?
Not really. I mean, we were there, and I mean, we had a great spot, and the 12 pushed us pretty well to clear into the lead right before he took over and abandoned me. But I think that was about as good as I could do, I think.
And of course, Craig, this is the first race of the series. Still plenty more to come your way. And obviously, with 4 wide coming back soon, we're going to be a lot. We're going to be very busy here on the KBueno Racing Network. So as we get back into the swing of things, how does this feed the momentum as you try to get back into the swing of things with both this truck series and also with season 8 of 4 wide?
It's really good. I've had horrible luck in iRacing the last few weeks, and it's good to have a race go your way for once. So yeah, I think it's gonna carry on pretty well. Looking forward to driving the truck on the non-super speedways because I haven't driven this thing in a long time. So it's gonna be fun, I think.
And before we let you go, Craig, anybody want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and your entire 78 team?
Just you guys, you and Kenneth and everyone, and Keelan for putting this on, and then yeah, just my teammates for helping me out whenever they're there. But yeah, just everyone who puts it on, I think.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Craig. It was a fantastic race. Unfortunately, it wasn't the win you were hoping for, but still a fantastic P2 result. We hope to see you out here more often on Mondays.
Yeah, I hope to be out here. Thanks.
Craig Lautenslager, runner-up here from Daytona, was just one spot short on that final green-white checkered attempt, and it didn't go his way. Moving back one additional spot, and this was a special one, I know, for him, and he'll be looking back on this one with absolute blast and just absolutely fiending at the opportunity to be able to have this happen. But we'll go on with it, and it's probably going to be the best one of the night. Alex Schumacher, a top 3 finish here from Daytona. Do you have any words that can describe what are going through your mind right now?
Unbelievable. I can't believe it at all. Genuinely, was a roller coaster ride, and it's just amazing to have my first ever podium interview, in what seems like a very, very long time, especially on the KBRN network. Uh, just it's awesome as always to start off the season with a third place finish at this track with how many incidents there were, just to survive and be at the right place at the right time at the end. It was awesome. It was even better to put a teammate in the right spot at the right place at the end, with a healthy restart, being on his bumper and putting him in a position where he can move up and then take the win. So it was awesome to help Trevor, and good to be a good teammate as always.
I know I talked to you earlier in the race during one of the cautions, but in the second half of the race, what was it like being there, trying to figure out the strategies and pitting under green, and of course, being in that late strategy run before the green white checkers eventually came, but also dealing with them once they were presented with yourself? What was going through your mind trying to manage all of that at the same time as it just kept approaching?
I let him have it half throttle at the bottom entire time. I was uh, before that green flag pit stop, I came in topped off, so I had probably the most fuel in the field coming to that pit stop. I think I had like 2 or 3 left in the tank. I wanted to stay out, but with how many cars came in, you gotta pit with that many cars and be in a one consistent pack, and that was clearly the right choice. But uh, taking that much fuel at the end, I was running around. I think when I came out, I was half a lap short, and then I eventually put myself in a position to be good by a lap. And then obviously, just like I said, running around the bottom, just putzing around. I mean, I wasn't in any rush, and everyone else was, and that's perfectly fine by me because put himself in a bad spot at the end. Uh, I still came down and pit at the end, regardless. I mean, I wouldn't have made it 3 overtimes, but hypothetically, if we went 1 or 2, I think I would have still made it. But coming down there and just topping off and taking just enough, even after getting involved, I think I had about a minute worth of damage probably 50 seconds or so. And I just kind of told myself, we're going for broke here. We're taking fuel. We're getting the hell out there. If the one lane doesn't get going, the only chance you're gonna have is to push me to get going. So it was nice to see strategy work out, and even when the race flipped on its lid, I was able to capitalize and make the most of it. So just with the strategy, just being in the right time, right place, and then also just being in the right position at the end, it's really rewarding to have a race like this and get an interview from it.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for you, Shuey. Just a string of bad luck, but this one's certainly going to feel good. And I gotta ask, did the Shoei Sportsbook have this on its prediction sheet for tonight?
Absolutely not. I did contact Charlie and Keel and all them. They said they were interested, but they wanted to get the season started right away. But hypothetically, if I did, I probably would have drew a line that was like 7.5 yellows. I couldn't tell you. I mean, there was lead changes left and right, so I probably would have drew a line at like 40 or something, 50. Uh, but yeah, Chewy Sportsbook would love to have it here. Obviously, we do odds and book totals for other leagues as well. So it would be nice to spice up this league, kind of see if there's any underdog victories, anyone kind of predicting stuff like that. So, but yeah, I've been having fun with Chewy Sportsbook. Hope we can keep it up. It's just really fun to kind of bring like the sports gambling world to iRacing and just kind of create lines and odds for other races and then just see how they unfold and what people predict. So been having a blast with that, hoping I can keep it up soon and bring some more cool stuff to it.
And of course, Chewy, before we let you go for the evening, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and your entire 68 team?
I want to thank my family. They support me, care about all my results. So I want to thank my family. They'll be watching the replay eventually. Shout out to the Detroit Tigers. They're getting it done. Watching them intently. They're underneath a rain delay right now. Game's probably going to get picked up tomorrow afternoon or morning, I assume. But still, um, shout out KBRN. Shout out BBR. All those guys to make this great racing possible, and of course making the broadcast just as better. So, but yeah, just shout out to the family, shout out to the friends, and shout out to everyone in between. You know, you guys are the real ones, and I really appreciate you guys for keeping an eye on and watching me race really hard or get my heart broken, either one. So, uh, can't wait to share this result with everyone, and yeah, let's go on to next week with this great momentum.
Appreciate the time you take with us, Shuey. Thank you for the kind words and congratulations on your podium effort here tonight from Daytona. We do hope to see you moving forward in this series.
Thanks a lot, Francisco. Really appreciate it. Have a great night, and thank you for a great broadcast.
That's Alexander Schumacher, third place from Daytona, rounding out your podium finishers. And of course, it wouldn't be right if we didn't get one last opportunity to talk with the man himself after everything and after the dust has settled. Kenneth Bueno now joins us in the booth after the end of this race. And Kenneth, I know it wasn't the result for you, but after watching those overtime attempts, after watching the conclusion of this race, what are some of your key takeaways after the much anticipated series debut of the KBRN Truck Series has finally subsided?
I was honestly hoping, Francisco, that it would end green. You know, it's a shame that they couldn't race it to the line, but a huge congratulations to Trevor. I mean, he's been looking for a league win on the KBueno Racing Network for a while, so it's awesome that he gets to do it here in the first race. And honestly, it's a huge effort from guys like Charlie and Keelan that helped me put this league together. And you know, whether it was Charlie giving race control decisions from the tower during the race, or you know, Keelan helping out with a lot of the signups, especially to get everybody in the league before the race started this evening. A huge shout out to them. I couldn't have done it without them, and it was fun. I mean, for a first race, gotta iron out some kinks, of course, but we'll learn as time goes on. But it was a great first race.
I think it was a great first race as well. It was fantastic top to bottom. It didn't end under green, but it was still great overtime efforts. You can definitely tell the drivers wanted to win this race. They were giving it their all, and that's really what we can hope for as an opening series, the debut of this series. And of course, we'll be going to various other racetracks throughout the rest of the season. We've got the schedule up here. Next week will be the Las Vegas Motor Speedway on August 18th. I won't be able to bring the show there, but it will continue nonetheless. The Sin City will be the next one. Rockingham, Nashville, a couple of the following events as we start kicking towards that middle portion of the schedule. But while I have you on here, Kenneth, since we didn't get to talk about this in the pre-race show, just kind of give us your thoughts on the thought process on making this entire schedule as we begin to move forward towards it.
what we wanted to do, Francisco, and we had your input in this too, is just trying to get the best set of diversity across the schedule. And a lot of that comes from tracks that people like to race, number one, and tracks that we felt will work good with these trucks, especially after the recent update, which they're very much fun to drive, I'd say. So we wanted to add some favorites in there as well. I know Rockingham and Montreal are kind of biased a little bit, especially from my side. I really wanted to have those two tracks on the schedule because Rockingham, is so tough to drive as a racetrack, and it really challenges the driver. So we'll get a good chance to see who's kind of the best of the best across these disciplines. But it's just making sure we got the best set of tracks that could provide us really good racing, give drivers an opportunity to shine, especially at those hard to drive, tire wear heavy tracks. And then, of course, just using our own input, our own biases on what we want. I mean, Homestead did the finale for a reason, right? Like we made this decision a long time ago, saying if we were gonna have a league, Homestead was gonna be the finale, no ifs and buts about
Yeah.
it. So, just trying to have a healthy mix, and while adding Montreal and Knoxville in there, just trying to be as diverse as possible with our schedule and make sure that we can kind of cover all bases while having tracks that a lot of people would have fun racing in.
Well said, and I agree. And I think once we get into the full swing of things with this schedule in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing some of the better races. I think the best has yet to come from this series after a spectacular debut. Any final words you want to give to the audience and anybody who may be watching, Kenneth?
And just a huge thank you to all the drivers, to everybody watching, to you, to broadcasting, to literally everyone involved. I mean, it took a lot of us to put this together, and it's taken a couple months for us to kind of fully brainstorm this and put it into practice. So I'm really glad of the turnout tonight. I'm glad at the racing tonight. There were a lot of great moves. Everybody raced with respect. We didn't really have any big controversy. So I'm glad that we could shine these drivers' names in the spotlight a little bit more with this schedule. And yeah, just a huge thank you. I'm excited for Las Vegas.
I am too, Kenneth. I hope it's going to be a good one. I'll have to look back on it whenever the time comes. I'll be at the Marlins game that day. But thank you for everything, for making this whole thing possible, and thank you to everybody that watches and participates in this series for making this happen. On behalf of everybody on the KBueno Racing Network, from Kenneth Bueno to making this league possible and this channel on the 5-year anniversary of the KBueno Racing Network, and from Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, Ela Comerford, everybody that helps makes this happen. My name is Francisco Bacallao. Thank you for joining us in the inaugural event of the KBueno Racing Truck Series. We hope to see you out at Las Vegas on August 18th, next Monday night, and we are getting ready for some intense racing. Be sure to join us soon.